Hi, welcome to Heal Body, Mind and Spirit. My name is Dermot Farrell, and today we're going to give 8 quick tips which will help you deal with depression. It will help you reduce depression, might even help you cure depression. Hi, I posted another video earlier entitled Understanding Depression, and it goes into a lot of length and a lot of detail, and inside that video there's actually 8 points on how to deal with depression, but it's a long video, it's over half an hour, so I decided to make this as a short video in case you didn't want to sit through a half-hour video to pick up the points. So we're just going to gallop through the points quickly. For those of you who are busy on the move, you want to get a quick bang, something that will help you deal with your problem. So if you want to know more about how to understand depression, the bigger picture, look at the video. And even more broad viewpoint, look at the blog article. But right here, right now, we're going to talk about the 8 tips, and I'm going to link a blog article below listing them as well. Okay, so the first thing that we have to do, the number one thing we have to do, is you have to realize that you have a problem. A lot of people ignore the fact that they have mental, emotional issues, that they feel depressed. There is ordinary misery, and then there's depression. If you lose your job, if there's a bereavement, if you've got relational problems, of course you're going to be down and depressed. But if you're really, a lot of times people say, hey, I'm depressed, but they really mean they're not feeling happy. But depression really means you feel hopeless, helpless, terrible, like really a dark cloud upon you, or what Winston Churchill used to call his black dog. Okay, something really heavy. That's the first thing. The second thing relating to this is that clinically, anything more than 3 weeks of feeling like this every day is labeled clinical depression. Now, if you go down to your doctor, he will usually give you antidepressants. And the usual idea is to give antidepressants for 3 to 6 months. Most doctors don't know a huge amount about depression. They don't cover a lot in detail in college, and it is a complex topic. So they usually go on the biofeedback idea that if you have 3 to 6 months of having this drug making you feel better, probably your life will move on, you will feel better. And that works for maybe 25% of the cases, or works for maybe 1/3 of the cases, but does not work for everybody. So, first of all, realize you have a problem and be willing to go down to the doctor and do something about it. But begin by realizing you have a problem. The other thing is that often we feel that our problem is unique, and that our problem is so big, nobody else could have a problem like we have. Well, 5% of the world's population, according to the World Health Organization, and about 6-point-something% of people in America, for example, are suffering from depression at any one time. So that's 1 in 20 people at any one time. How many people suffer depression in their life? You're probably down into single digits. You're probably like 25%, 35%, 15%. A lot of people. I don't know the exact amount, but a lot of people. So you are not alone. So first of all, you can't fix a problem unless you can do something about it. But the second thing is, so you have to recognize you have a problem, but also it's not an unbeatable problem. And when we're dealing with depression, we're dealing with psychological warfare, because there's a tendency of thinking, I can't beat it, I can't win, it's going to keep coming back, I want to go back to the past. Well, you can't go back to the past, you have to move on to the future. Now, Einstein had a wonderful quotation. I don't know if I'm quoting exactly right, but something like this, is that you cannot fix a problem in the same state of mind which created it, or same stage of consciousness. Now the quote might be slightly different, I'm paraphrasing, but the idea is that you cannot solve a problem in the same state of consciousness which created it. In other words, if I'm thinking certain thoughts and have a certain view on the world, if I still have those thoughts and that view on the world, I can't fix the problem. Because the problem came about because the thoughts and ideas I had were not capable of dealing with the situation. If I can't deal with the situation, I have a problem. Therefore, I must change my thinking. So this is where we work into the next point. Okay, little sheets here to help you a little bit. Next point is is to work on building yourself. So back to self-knowledge. So I have to change my consciousness. And you know, as you check over the other video, basically the reason why you're feeling depressed is that your inner critic is giving you a hard time. And the cure here is to become more positive. Read positive books, watch positive videos. Avoid the news where possible, because it tends to be negative, and most people are negative. So you need positive mind feed, positive thoughts. You need to go and change your programming and become more upbeat and more positive. It's very, very important. Okay, so that's number 2. Do some boosting, because the depression, you mightn't consciously think it, but those thoughts are pushing you down. You know, you're bad, you're worthy, you'll never make it, this will never end. You need to start building yourself up. Okay. The third point I have here is to do some self-itinerary. Again, we're into conscience building. Self-itinerary, most people never think about themselves, never stop, never reflect. But self-itinerary basically means that you do a bit of work on yourself. I think the easiest way to do some work on yourself is to take a pen and paper out and write 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 pages, a quick overview of your life. I know some of you out there will write 2 paragraphs, other people will write 50 pages. Whatever feels right for you. The point is, you should have an idea of who you are and where you're coming from. Life is kind of generic. The life that's rolled out to us in school and in advertisements and college and work life on TV, etc. is generic, you know. Everybody likes sitting by the pool, a nice car, etc. Well, maybe you don't give a damn about these things. So, you know, there is a generic life projection and there's your life projection, your unique projection. So you must find out about yourself. It's been my experience that most people don't really know who they are or what they want. Or they only learn this when they're like 50 years of age. It's a little bit late. You know, you can start this at any time in your life, and we should even help our kids to learn more about who they are. So it's good to just, you know, read some self-help books, have a look at your life, write this kind of life summary out, and then see where there's problems and issues, because every human being has problems and issues. And are any of these things causing a problem? Oftentimes it can be something very simple. Sometimes we're trying to live the wrong kind of life. Maybe you're a salesperson, but you're really not cut out for sales. Maybe you're a business person, you're not cut out for business. Maybe you're in a sort of relationship you should never really gotten into. Maybe you have to rethink about why you're in this relationship. So it might be a simple case of evaluating your life and making changes, or it might be a case of seeing that there's more problems, things going back to early life traumas and things that obviously can't be fixed easily. I mean, something that's always interested me is when you see these documentaries where they go into some very rough neighborhood, maybe places like America, for example, or some parts of the UK, and they show these people living this terrible life and has all problems and it isn't safe to bring your kids out in the street. The thought that always occurs to me when I see these programs is, if I was there, say in America, and you're in, you know, some place that's very tough in America, okay? Why am I staying there? America's a free country. You know, it's not that expensive to move from one place to another. If you're in a poor neighborhood and having a rough life, you're probably at a small wage anyway. So why not just pack up and go, bring the family and go somewhere else? You know, if you got the option, especially in a developed country, many countries where it's poor, it is very difficult. I'm living in India, and some people are very poor, and it really is difficult to do anything. They let you have very few resources. So unless somebody helps them, or unless one family member gets a job and pulls the resources up, it's very challenging. But really, I could tell you, from going from Ireland to going to India, you know, in Ireland or the UK or Europe or America or Canada or Australia, any of these kind of countries, people are actually pretty wealthy, you know. Surprisingly wealthy. You want poverty, come over to India and other countries. I'm not knocking India, it's a great country, but I'm just saying, developed countries, it is more of a problem. But if you're in a developed country, really, you don't like your neighbourhood, you worry about your kids, go to a different neighbourhood. You don't like your job, leave your job. So we can make changes. But also you might find that there's, when you're doing the self-itinerary, there's more problems. So they're the first kind of 3 things. You have a problem, you're not alone. You need to boost yourself, and you need to do a bit of a self-itinerary to have some idea where you're going. And the other thing is, more than likely, unless you're very fortunate, like I said, if it's simply just some life adjustment to make, sometimes you immediately realize, oh my God, I never thought I could leave that job. Well, yes, you can. You can leave any job or any country, anything. Seek help, which could be things like going to the doctor and getting antidepressants. Antidepressants do have their place. The place for antidepressants is that they stop that downward spiral, because it's a thing called biofeedback. I'm feeling bad, I'm feeling worse, I'm feeling more worse, I'm feeling even worse. We have to stop that. So that's a good reason for going to your doctor. And this moves on to the next point, number 5. Okay. Well, also the doctor thing as well is get on antidepressants and then work on getting off them. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. You could try herbal remedies before trying the antidepressant medication, see how it goes. If you are on antidepressants, try the herbal remedies. We have another video on that. You might be able to get off the allopathic medication and have less toxicity with the herbs, or at least reduce the amount. But even if you're on the herbs, or if you're on the antibiotic, you still want to try and get off them. But I do know we're talking about something that affects 5% of the world's population, and so I do know that some of you guys won't be able to get off it, but if possible, do get off it. So do get help, do take drugs if you need to, and do try to get off them if possible. The next point we have is to get help from a friend or a counselor. So, you know, like I said, if you go to the doctor, he will tend to put you on antidepressants and hope it breaks. It works in 25% to 33%. Doesn't work in everybody. How can you cure a depression permanently? For some people, it's almost impossible. They will have bouts of depression from time to time. But for the majority of you out there, yes, you can be cured. But you'll have to read some self-help books. You'll have to do some counselling or psychotherapy. We have a word in Ireland which is Amcaro, which means soul friend. So at least go and find somebody. It could be a priest, a nun, a rabbi, an imam, a friend, a neighbour, your granddad, somebody to talk to, and who will give you some support and give you help, because you need to work through things in order to get beyond this. It's very important that we do that. And then another thing which we need to do, and it's a very important point, there was a chap, a healer from the UK, he's now passed away since the 1970s, called Harry Edwards. And he had this lovely phrase which is called, "This too will pass." And the idea is that if a difficult problem is there, just remember it will pass. Everything will pass. We're in this dualistic world where there's good and bad, and you can't hold on to good things forever. But fortunately, you can't hold on to bad things forever. The nature of the world is change, but that also means that no matter how bad you feel, that feeling does not have to go on forever. So especially for depression, tends to be cyclical. People tend to get depression at certain times of the year. People tend to get depression at certain times of the day. So probably the most difficult thought I have seen when I look at people feeling depressed, and when I had depression myself at one stage in the early 90s, was the most difficult thing with depression was this feeling that will never go. That is this it for life? Every day I'm going to go through this every day, I can't cure it. And no, it's not that case. I used to get terrible depression between 92 and 93, about 18 months of terrible depression. But it was okay in the morning and evening, but the afternoon used to hit me like a ton of bricks. And I used to think, is this it? Is this the way it's going to be? And then one day I got angry. I got angry at this depressed feeling. And I said, I'm not going to give up on this. It's only a feeling. Depression is only a feeling. Feeling bad will not kill me. It's just feeling bad. And I made the decision that day that I was not going to succumb to this and keep thinking about when will it go away, or will it ever go away, or how screwed I am for life, or wishing I could go back. And that for me was the turning point. I'd recommend to anybody, you know, worrying that will it ever go away. This is very common with feelings of anxiety and feelings of depression and so on and so forth. Will it ever go away? Will it ever go away? Don't think that. It's a funny thing. When you think about a problem, you make it worse. You think about a solution, you don't think about a problem. If you have a headache, no matter how hard you look at a headache, it never seems to end. You ever notice that when a headache goes, it's like, oh, it's gone. You forgot about the headache. Problems are only solved when you forget that you had a problem. People focus on the problem, they should be focusing on the solution. And two things there. One is feeling it's never going to go away. I'm feeling depressed over it. And the second thing is I want to go back. Okay? And back can be lovely and wonderful, but you can't go back. Okay? Because whatever you're going through, whatever state of awareness you're going to, you can never go back to the way it was. Okay? When you're a 7-year-old kid, you can't go back to being the 7-year-old kid because you know different things. Your first kiss was amazing. Well, it was a first. Every other kiss was not a first. Okay? The first time, I remember my first plane ride, it was like, oh my God, it's amazing. Everything's amazing at first. But we can't go back. And oftentimes what happens to a lot of people is as we go older, we become more aware. And some challenges come with growing older. I'm not saying being old, but I mean going beyond 20, 25, 30, etc. Is things like friends you had sometimes disappear or fall out. You learn things about life you didn't like. You learn things about your family life. And my family, we had a certain view of things, and I took it as real for years. And really, I was well into my 20s or early 30s before I realised that a lot of what I thought was the way my family was a bit of a fantasy that's been kind of rolled out like the family story. So as you go through life, you get more awareness, and that can suck. Basically, it's not all fun. Some of it is, some of it isn't. But a certain part of us likes to go back. I mean, I'm in my mid-40s now, and I look back at my mid-20s, and it was, you know, in many ways at a great time and a lot of freedom and stuff. But I couldn't go back even if I wanted to. And even if I had those experiences, hung around those people, it wouldn't be the same because I'm now 20 years old and I think and feel differently. I wouldn't accept a lot of crap I accepted then. I wouldn't have been as naive or as easily pleased in many ways as I was then. So we have to go forward, like it or like it not. We can't go back. So face up to you know, your depressed feelings and realize that it will pass. Everything will pass. Good things pass, but bad things also pass. And hang in there. Harry Edwards says, this too will pass. I would say hang in there. Because you know something, more often than not, you win things, not by beating them, but you win by not losing. Okay? You hang in there. There is no point in life for giving up. Okay? Just hang in there. Often as a person sticks around, you do well. And the last point here, and the last in this series of points, is contact with your higher power or higher self. Personally, I believe in God. I don't know if you believe in God, but if you believe in God, there's a concept of grace, and that when we open up to God, that God has free will, He gives us free will, and then when we open up to God, His grace comes and helps us and supports us. Even if you don't believe that, think in terms of some higher power, something beyond yourself. The human being has to go beyond their ego and get some kind of assistance. So often in life, and this is a good thing to learn as well, as you go through life and you get more awareness, and sometimes you see sides of life you wish you didn't see. Also remember that you are, you know, you're a free being, you have free will. And part of your free will is the willingness to open up to something beyond yourself. If you want to call that God, your higher power, transcendence, the universe. If you are stuck in the mindset that my ego is going to solve everything, and I'm going to fight this, and I'm going to fight that, you know, you're not going to survive the way you'd like to survive, because no little human ego can face up to all the rigors of life. There's always some challenges which are beyond our conscious ego. Okay, so you can seek help from a higher power, a higher energy, call it what you will, but you don't have to go it alone. So that's it, quick thing today. Like I said, realize you have a problem, but realize you're not alone. What else do we have here? We have work on building yourself up, do a self-itinerary, seek help, okay? Get like a counselor, a friend, go to your doctor, take antidepressants, but don't hang on them. Realize that this too will pass, okay? Don't be hung over this thing of when will it end. Forget about the problem, remember the solution, and tune into your higher power. So specifically I would say, just to finish up, major things here is to realize you're not alone. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Do get help. And, you know, hang in there and seek some help from above as well. You can get through this, or if it's a family member or a friend, they can get through this, and they should not feel alone. There are 8 tips which are very powerful if you start using them for coping with depression. Thanks for dropping in. Have a nice day, and like and subscribe if you like as well. Thanks. Bye for now.